Are you a post-traumatic parent who struggles to remember and use parenting scripts? Hi, I'm Dr. Robyn Koslowitz, YouTube's post-traumatic parenting expert. If you like this content, if you're curious about this topic, please click the subscribe button below. Find us, the post-traumatic parenting community, on Instagram at Dr. Koslowitz Psychology, and please check out the post-traumatic parenting podcast available wherever you get your podcasts. So if you're a post-traumatic parent who really loves how parenting scripts sound, who really loves hearing all of these wonderful ways to talk children into doing the things that we're perhaps power struggling about, if you really love the way these parenting scripts are constructed, but then in the moment you don't remember them, you can't use them, they're not working with your kids, you're frustrated with yourself because you don't have that perfect blend of Mr. Rogers and Mary Poppins that the person giving the script has, and you're just not able to deliver it. Relax. First of all, let's understand that as post-traumatic parents, a lot of us feel like our internal working models are broken. John Bowlby, the researcher who discovered attachment theory, who studied attachment theory, talked about attachment as creating an internal working model. That's a sense of ourselves in the world and a sense of relationships. And when we have secure attachment, we have a good internal working model and we feel secure. We feel like we can risk things, we can fail, that our instincts will be okay, that we can use our discernment skills, and that we're going to be able to work it all out. When we don't have secure attachments, then our internal working model it kind of feels broken. It feels like, a parent who was raised with perfect attachment, she would know what to say, right? She would know exactly how to handle this meltdown, this kid talking back, this kid refusing to brush their teeth, this kid who won't do their homework. She would know exactly what to do. But me, I don't have that internal working model. No one installed that template in the back of my brain that's helping me use the exact right words for my kids. If this is you, it's okay. A lot of us post-traumatic parents feel that way. We feel like our damage is going to damage our kids. We feel like, of course, I don't know how to parent because I didn't perhaps see parenting done under ideal conditions. I didn't have that normative childhood that I'd like to give my children. I'd like to provide my children with proper parenting, but my brain does not know what to do. I certainly know perhaps what I don't want to do, but I don't know what to actually do. It's very, very common. So then when we hear about parenting scripts, it's so seductive, right? This person has the perfect script for what to say when my kid doesn't want to brush his teeth. This person knows exactly what to tell my kid about sibling rivalry, how to talk to my teenager, how to talk to my 2-year-old. This is great. All I have to do is memorize all these scripts and I've got it made. But here's the problem. Have you ever been in a play? Have you ever tried to use a script? I know when I was a beginning therapist, I tried to use scripts. Sometimes evidence-based psychotherapy, there are very specific scripts that you're supposed to follow. And the patient says this, the therapist says this. They don't kind of tell you what to do if the patient says something completely off script, but on the whole. And when you're struggling to stick to a script like that, you come across very stilted and it takes a lot of effort. We don't want to come across as stilted with our kids. We don't want to use that level of effort. What we want is that effortless attunement between us and them. We want to understand and intuit their emotional states and then be able to use that information to understand them. We want to be able to get into the head of a 5-year-old or a 7-year-old, understand what developmental tasks they're trying to accomplish, and then speak with them accordingly. It's not about the specific words. It's not about the script. Anyone who's publishing parenting scripts is not expecting parents to stick to the script exactly. It's okay if you don't stick to the script exactly. If the script is about starting by validating the child, I know it kind of feels yucky to brush your teeth sometimes. I don't love brushing my teeth either. Or, yeah, homework sometimes seems pointless. Starting with that validation is great. It's golden. You don't necessarily need the exact words that were in the script, right? You need the intent and the structure of the script, starting with validation, offering choices, offering alternatives, coming up with a plan, seeing how you can be helpful, non reactive responding. Those are all useful things. But the actual words of the script don't really matter. As long as the intent of the communication is good, you don't have to remember the script. It's okay. No one's expecting you to. And a lot of post traumatic parents, because we value parenting so much, because as trauma survivors, perfectionism very often is one of our coping tools with trauma. We believe that that trauma app in the back of our brain warns us, be perfect or you will be traumatized again. Any minute now, trauma is waiting around the corner, waiting to come and like jump out at you. So be perfect and then you'll be safe. Then it comes to parenting, and we want to do parenting perfectly. Maybe we saw imperfect parenting, maybe we saw really imperfect parenting, and we want to do better. What we don't realize is better, proper, and perfect are not all the same thing. Parenting in accordance with our values, parenting responsively, parenting kindly, parenting in a way where the child feels seen and heard and understood doesn't have to be done perfectly. And if we try to be perfect, we'll end up with burnout, right? We'll end up trying so hard and trying to remember those words of that script that we're being so effortful. It's sort of like when you're driving a car the first time or riding a bike the first time, it's so effortful. We don't want to be that effortful. We want to be attuned. And the way to be attuned is sometimes to forget the script a little bit and learn about child development, learn about what a 7-year-old's all about, what a 5-year-old's all about, what a 15-year-old's all about, understand our own triggers, manage them, learn how to self-regulate and how to re-regulate and how to co-regulate with our child without worrying about the specific words of the specific script. Because the specific words don't matter nearly as much as the intent of communicating responsively with children and making them be seen and heard. A lot of times, the trauma app in our brain warns us that if we don't do it perfectly, our children will end up having the kind of lonely experience with trauma that we had. They'll start feeling as though they're overwhelmed with big emotions and alone with them, and the world just is not a supportive, safe, and secure place. What our trauma app does not realize is that there's a crucial difference. Our kids have us and our trauma awareness and our willingness and our value of parenting responsively and kindly. Our children have us, and that makes all the difference in the world. So don't worry so much about the parenting script and about sticking to the parenting script. Tell that trauma app in your brain, remove its permissions for warning you that you're not sticking to the parenting script perfectly and that you're not handling every situation with your child optimally. Optimal is not the goal here. Pretty good most of the time is the goal. Responsiveness, starting with a child's eye view, starting with reminding ourselves that when we're both dysregulated, we can't get anywhere. So, first, we need to self regulate, then we can co regulate, then we can discuss it. That's so much better. The trauma app wants us to solve every problem with our children immediately. It warns us of dire consequences whenever we don't, like, oh my gosh, if he doesn't brush his teeth, what will be? And next thing you know, your trauma app is warning you that he's dead in a ditch from, I don't know, a combination of tooth decay. And somehow that leads to him like never getting married and, never having a fulfilling career and never living his life because he didn't brush his teeth at age 7. Thanks, Trauma App. Thank you for reminding me how much I care about my child and how much I value parenting properly. I appreciate it. I think, though, if I don't stick to the parenting script and I don't have that conversation perfectly, my kid's still going to be okay. Right? And it's going to work. And maybe today the conversation with my kids didn't go the way I wanted it to. Tomorrow I will learn from that. That problem will provide me with data. Instead of listening to you trauma app and muting that data and just not thinking about it and distracting myself and dissociating, I'm going to think over that interaction with my son. I'm going to think over, what did I say that wasn't consistent with my values? What did I say that worked? And then we're going to try again tomorrow. The nice thing about raising kids is that usually there are many, many, many tomorrows. And if tonight he stormed off in a huff and didn't brush his teeth, he's not going to die. Tooth decay takes longer than that to set in. Eventually, we're going to figure it out. As long as we tell the trauma app, you don't have permission to mute that whole conversation that I had with that child and distract me and make me dissociate so I don't think about it, because I do want to think about that conversation and figure out what I can do better next time. And you don't have to warn me that I must stick to the script perfectly, because that's going to adrenalize me. That's going to raise a lot of cortisol in my system, which is going to be the enemy of attunement and attachment. And it's going to take me away from where I want to go. So, yeah, it's true. I want no script. That's okay. Parenting is not a scripted endeavor. If you're a post traumatic parent and you like this content and you want help with your post traumatic parenting, please click the subscribe button below, and please check out the post traumatic parenting community. You can find us on Instagram and Facebook at Dr. Koslowitz Psychology. If you want to hear longer form conversations about post-traumatic parenting, check out the Post-Traumatic Parenting Podcast. It's available wherever you get your podcasts. Till next time.